What's up, everybody? It's that time of year when the big industry experts share their housing market predictions for 2024. So today, we're going to take a look at Realtor.com's fearless predictions for next year. We'll look at several articles on Realtor.com's forecasts, primarily focusing on home price predictions, mortgage rate predictions, and affordability in general for 2024. 2023 has been a particularly brutal one for the housing market. Mortgage rates peaked to a 20-year high and inventory was super low, causing buyers to be sidelined because they simply couldn't afford a house, and would-be sellers to stay put because they don't want to trade in their low mortgage rate for a much higher one. Basically, the housing market has become completely unaffordable. So will this change in 2024? According to Danielle Hale, the chief economist for Realtor.com, things will get better. We do expect affordability to improve going into 2024. That's a cornerstone of our housing market forecast, but it's going to be a pretty small step in that direction. So let's start with home prices. Realtor.com predicts that national home prices will go down 1.7% in 2024. This is good news in the sense that home prices are falling, but honestly, it's not really enough to make a difference for most buyers. The hope is with the slight dip in home prices, it will give buyers' incomes a chance to catch up to the high prices. Typically, home prices rose around 6.5% a year between 2013 and 2019. During the COVID-19 pandemic, home prices rose almost 40% in certain locations, causing buyers to chase the markets. The new year will effectively hit the pause button. It will be a bit of a break after what have been pretty relentless home price increases, says Hale. It's going to be a big leap forward for buyers' mental health. Some of the pressure and sense of urgency will start to let up. I'm not sure what's happening where you live, but where I am in the DC area, good houses are still selling in multiple offers and closing way above the asking price. And by good houses, I mean those houses that are priced right and show well. There's just not enough inventory, so prices are escalating by buyers competing over the same house. Danielle Hale was pretty vague when asked if this is going to improve. We're not going to see a major breakthrough in the logjam that has been the housing market over the last year or so, but 2024 will be a baby step in the right direction. Chief economist Danielle Hale said in the report, "It's going to stop getting worse." Which brings us to inventory. Realtor.com forecasts the number of existing homes for sale will fall 14.7% in 2024 compared to this year. Existing homes exclude new construction, FYI. This is not good news. With fewer homes on the market, the good homes will continue to be sought after by buyers, causing competition, which will result in high prices. The problem is high mortgage rates are causing many homeowners to stay put. About 2/3 of homeowners have mortgages below 4%. More than 90% have rates that are less than 6%. There is very little incentive for these people to sell, especially when buying a new home with a much higher rate will just cost them so much more money each month. Although this year's increase in mortgage rates has surely suppressed the quantity of homes sold, the relative shortage of inventory for sale has been a solid support for prices. Craig Lazzara, managing director at S&P Dow Jones Indices, said in a statement, "The people that do decide to sell in this market are usually doing it because of one of the 5 Ds. Diapers, expanding your family, diplomas, the empty nesters, diamonds, people that are getting married and want to buy a home, divorce, self-explanatory, and death." I'll add another reason: relocation for work. "We're talking about moves of necessity for people," said Hale. The good news is builders are expected to keep putting up homes. Those numbers are not including in the housing inventory drop that Realtor.com predicts. Builders are anticipated to rev up construction about 0.4% over last year to just under 1 million new homes. And they're likely to continue to offer incentives such as the mortgage rate buydowns to close deals. "We've got a big hole to dig out of," Realtor.com chief economist Danielle Hale said while discussing the volume of new homes being built. "We do expect to see single-family construction tick up next year by about 0.4%. So not a huge gain, but construction right now is on the upper end of what we've seen it do over the last, really since 2012, she explained. Hale remains optimistic about the new unit inventory, arguing that the industry will see an improvement, but said it's a multi-year problem. So if we took all that construction and put it towards filling that deficit, it's going to take us a few years to build out, she expressed. As for 2024, Hale believes that when buyers go shopping, they will see a lot more new homes. As for mortgage rates, Realtor.com economists forecast that the 30-year fixed mortgage rate will average about 6.8% for the year and fall to 6.5% by year's end. That's about 0.8 of a point lower than rates were last week, 7.29% according to Freddie Mac, but still much higher than the 4% historical average between 2013 and 2019. Small changes in rates can drive big changes in your monthly payments, especially when prices are high, says Hale. In the past 3 years, rates have risen from the high 2% range to the mid 7% range, according to Freddie Mac data for 30-year fixed-rate mortgages. That resulted in the typical monthly mortgage payment more than doubling over the same time period. So while Realtor.com expects housing affordability to slightly improve in 2024, the problematic locked-in effect is likely to persist, Hale says. I mean, we spoke about this. Homeowners who locked in a mortgage rate below 3% have little to no motivation to sell now, to then go buy something with a much higher rate, especially when rates are above 7%. A small decline to 6.8% is an improvement, but it may not move the needle enough to prompt current homeowners to finally sell. In the big picture, this is still higher for longer rates, Hale says, adding, "We also think this means that the impact of higher mortgage rates, including the locked-in effect, are likely to continue to be a factor." Hale admits that rates aren't likely to fall enough to give the housing market the jolt it so desperately needs. Rising mortgage rates have priced a significant number of home buyers out of the market because they've raised the cost of borrowing at a time when home prices are also close to record highs, says Hale. The double whammy is too much for many buyers. As for Realtor.com's rental prediction, their economists believe that rents will go down 0.2% in 2024. As the housing market has priced many would-be buyers out, many have been forced to remain renters for a lot longer. That's left them vulnerable to landlords who've been steadily jacking up prices for the last few years. However, after several years of this crazy price growth, the large price hikes are expected to end, as builders delivered a flood of multi-level homes, causing vacancy rates to rise. It may have even helped supply outpace demand, Realtor.com said, putting vacancies at the early 2022 level. But while even more construction is scheduled through 2024, the price impact will be minimal given the sheer amount of demand. Specifically, as many millennials age past first-time home buying age and more Gen Z approach these years, the current housing landscape is likely to keep these households in the rental market for a longer period as they work to save up more money for the growing down payment needed to buy a first home, the report said. This trend is expected to sustain robust demand for rental properties. The fact that they're not continuing to go up is going to be a welcome change, says Hale. We've had a near record level of apartment construction, and that's helping to take the pressure off of rental prices. Renting is expected to continue to be a more budget-friendly option than buying in the vast majority of markets, even though home prices and mortgage rates are both expected to dip, helping pull the purchase market down slightly from record unaffordability. They finished their forecast with 3 possible wildcards, so let's take a look. Wildcard number 1 has to do with mortgage rates. With both mortgage rates and home prices expected to turn the corner in 2024, record high unaffordability will be a thing of the past, though the return to normal won't be accomplished within a year. This prediction hinges on the expectation that inflation will continue to subside, enabling the recent declines in longer-term interest rates to continue. If inflation were to instead see a surprise resurgence, this aspect of the forecast would change, and home sales could slip lower instead of steadying. Wildcard number 2 has to do with geopolitics. In our forecast for 2023, we cited the risk of geopolitical instability on trade and energy costs as something to watch. In addition to Russia's ongoing war in Ukraine, instability in the Middle East has not only had catastrophic human toll, both conflicts have the potential to impact the economic outlook in ways that cannot be fully anticipated. Wildcard number 3, domestic politics, the 2024 elections. In 2020, amid the upheaval of pandemic-era adaptations, many Americans were on the move. We noted that many Realtor.com traffic patterns indicated that home shoppers in very traditionally blue or Democratic areas were tending to look for homes in markets where voters have more typically voted red or Republican, while consumers also reported preferring to live in locations where their political views align with the majority. Few actually reported wanting to move for this reason alone. So to sum it all up, Realtor.com economists are forecasting a market that resembles 2023, with high interest rates, although lower than today, high home prices, although slightly lower than today, and low inventory. Obviously, this will depend on where you live, as real estate is very localized. In their breakdown of different markets, they forecast home prices going down 12% in St. Louis, Missouri, while home prices will go up 8.3% in Toledo, Ohio. I'll put a link to the breakdown in the description so you can see if your market is listed and what they forecast. Here in the DC area, they're projecting home prices to go up 2.6% in 2024. I can tell you by my experience, this number can change dramatically depending on the house and the neighborhood. Let's end with some current data on the housing market from Redfin's latest housing market update for the 4 weeks ending November 26. The median sales price is up 4.2% year over year, with the median asking price up 6% year over year. New listings are up 5.8% year over year, the biggest uptick in over 2 years. The increase is partly because new listings were falling this time last year. Active listings are down 7% year over year, the smallest decline since June. 33.7% of the homes for sale sold in the first 2 weeks, up from 30% a year ago. 27.3% of homes are still selling above the list price. That's up from 26% a year ago. 5.7% of the homes for sale each week did have a price drop, up 0.3 points from a year ago. The metro with the biggest year-over-year increase is Anaheim, California, with a median sale price up 19.3% from a year ago. And the metro with the biggest year-over-year decrease is Austin, with a 9.2% decline from a year ago. So you can see how diverse the housing market is across our country. But what's happening where you live? Are prices still going up, or have home values come down? If you missed last week's video on Morgan Stanley's housing market predictions, it was a good one, so definitely check that out next. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Bye.